everyone, I'm Charlotte. I'm one of the learning officers for the Royal Parks, and today I'm in Kensington Garden allotments, and you might be able to see I've got Speckled here, which is one of the 8 chickens that are kept in the Kensington Garden allotments. We've got 4 different types of chickens here, but this one is called Speckle, and there's another one that's like Speckle that's called Megan. These 2 white ones here, which are called Charlotte and Miranda. Now, the reason that we think eggs are associated with spring is because during winter, chickens didn't used to lay any eggs because there wasn't enough daylight. It's only at this time of year that they started to lay eggs again. Alright, so I'm outside the chicken coop because we're going to do a bit of a craft now. We've still got the chickens, so you might be able to see them walking past me. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making some Easter eggs. But these ones aren't going to be chocolate. These are made out of boiled eggs. Now, these eggs behind me have actually laid an egg for me this morning, and it looks like this. Isn't it amazing? Now, this egg would be absolutely perfect for the craft that we're going to do today. Now, in Germany, it's traditional to decorate boiled eggs and also to make an Osterbaum, which is an Easter tree. Now, in England, we've taken over the Christmas tree idea from Germany, but we've never quite caught up with the Easter one, and I think it's a tradition we really should do because it's quite fun. And today you're going to be making your own painted eggs. And there's a couple of different ways you can do this. What we're going to be needing is a paintbrush, some food colouring, some thread or some wool, some rice, and a wax crayon. Now, the next way is my favourite, and this is the way that I learnt to do it as a child. What you need is some rice in a box, and it makes this beautiful speckled pattern. And there's a number of, I'm not absolutely positive why it's done like this, but it looks beautiful and it looks like the type of eggs that you'd actually find in nature. Now, the reason that eggs are normally speckled when you find them from wild birds is because that helps the bird to tell which ones are their eggs. There's some birds that are quite sneaky, and they'll actually lay their egg in a different bird's nest. And that bird is called the cuckoo, which is one of the main signs of spring. So keep an ear out over the coming weeks and you might be able to hear one. But that cuckoo won't spend all of its time and energy building a nest, laying an egg, and then raising that chick. Instead, they'll fly to another bird's nest, lay their egg there, and fly off. So what all birds need to do, especially the ones that the cuckoos will focus on, is they need to be able to tell which ones are their eggs and which ones are the cuckoo's eggs. So they'll put complicated patterns on their eggs. They don't mean to, but it just happens that they lay eggs with complicated patterns so that they can recognise their own. A fun thing is, after a while, the cuckoos will start mimicking those patterns. And so it becomes more and more complicated as you go along, as they try to race against each other so that the bird doesn't end up losing out and spending all of its time raising a cuckoo, and the cuckoo wants to not have to spend the time raising its own chick. Alright, so what you need to do is you need to have some rice in a box and a lid, and all you have to do is add a couple of drops of food colouring to the rice. That should do. And just give it a bit of a shake, because we want all of these rice pieces to be covered in food colouring. Hello! Oh, you think that this is food, do you? All the chickens have come over because they think I've got some food for them. Sorry, chickadees, it's not. All right, let's have a go. And you want to shake this quite gently. You don't want to shake it too hard because you want it to be covered but you don't want to break the egg by accident. Just rolling it around the edges so that you get it nice and covered, and let's have a look at how it looks. All right, shall we see? Oh wow, that has turned out really well. Another fun fact that might be the reason why we like to have a speckled look on the eggs is that it used to be traditional to paint the eggs and then bury them in ant hills, because ants release an acid and they were making beautiful patterns across the eggs. So you'd paint it, bury it, and then pull it out and it would be covered in all these beautiful patterns from the ants. I'm not sure which one we're trying to mimic when we're doing this technique, but both of them end up looking very nice. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a different technique this time. And with this, you're going to be using a crayon or a birthday candle or any type of candle at all. Ooh, I thought that was a chicken flying then. So what you need to do is you can draw any pattern that you like. So you might want to do lines or dots work really well. And you can do all sorts of things. And whatever part of the egg that you colour in with a crayon is going to be paler, or it's going to be lighter than the part that you're going to dye, because you'll be able to see here, it's not going to get coloured when we dye it. So let's make a pattern on it, shall we? Alright, so once you've drawn onto your egg with your crayon or with your candle, what we're going to do next is we're going to dye it. So in this tub here, I've got quite a lot of food colouring. This is a lovely sort of greenish colour, so I'm hoping that it's going to go this colour. All you need to do is, you might get some sticky fingers with this bit, but you need to dye the egg. You can put it in a jar, or you can just roll it about, and you want it to have a nice smooth covering. So I'm just going to keep on rolling it about in here. Okay, so the next part, now it's been in there for a couple of minutes. It does dye quite quickly, but it has gone a lovely shade of, I don't know if you can see this, I'm just going to shake it off a little bit. Here we go, so it's gone a lovely bright shade, and I think that this looks absolutely lovely. Alright, so I'm going to just pop it into the egg box to dry off a little bit. You might end up with a little bit of food colouring on your fingers, but not to worry, it doesn't really matter. Alright, so the next thing that you could do is just painting the egg itself. And all you need for that is a paintbrush, and we're going to use the food colouring to dye it. And I think for this one, I'm going to go for some stripes. Now there's all sorts of different ideas on why we talk about Easter eggs so much. And in Germany there's actually a tradition or a folklore that they're not actually chicken eggs that we're talking about at Easter, because there used to be a mythical creature apparently called the Osterhase, which essentially is a hare or a rabbit that lays eggs. So that might be where we got our Easter rabbit idea from, and the reason why the Easter rabbit leaves chocolate eggs everywhere. Now I'm going to leave that one to dry as well. And decorating eggs has actually been around for a really long time. They actually found an egg that had been decorated that was about 60,000 years old. So they think it was linked to the Egyptians and Sumerians as well. Alright, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to find a way to hang them. So I think that this one has dried enough. Fantastic, so that looks dry enough that I'll be able to hang it in a moment. So shall I show you how to actually make the little holders so that you can hang your Easter egg from your tree? Alright, so what you need to do is you need to take a piece of string and fold it in half. Okay, so you want to be hanging the egg from about here. Alright, the way to work out, and what you need to do now is we need to do 2 overhand knots. So just tie a knot in it. Now this works best if you've got thread because we're going to split it. But if you've got something that doesn't split in half, what you can do is just tie two pieces, like hold two pieces together and just tie those instead. Okay, so you want two knots that are about this far apart. So what we're going to do now is if you split it into two parts, you've made a little egg holder. Can you see? So the egg will sit in there. All you need to do now is we're going to tie a reef knot. So we go over, so it's a simple knot to begin with. So once, and then go again. And you've made a little egg holder so that you can hang it from your Easter egg tree. So Kensington Garden allotments are free to open. You're welcome to wander around anytime you like. At the moment we have got restrictions in place where between 11 AM and 1 PM, if there's volunteers, then we'll shut the garden so that the volunteers are able to work and tend to the allotment nice and safely. But other than that and around those times it'll be open, so you'll be able to come and meet the chickens, and you'll also be able to have a wander around this beautiful allotment and see all the fresh food that's being grown as well. I hope that you've had fun and good luck with making your Easter egg and your Easter egg tree, and do send in pictures of your finished Easter egg trees and all of the beautiful decorations that you've got. Thanks so much and goodbye!